Okay, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Well, here we are. Oh, just about 1 o'clock for me in Texas. Not pretty in traditionals today. Market getting a little bit of a reality check, or just a reminder, perhaps, of what's ahead for us. Now, perhaps the best news I'm seeing here is that we're having a crack in the correlation, as Bitcoin is holding. We're having a little softness in a few spots, but the majors seem to be holding, and where there's a retrace, it would seem that we're finally getting some opportunity to participate after the burst after the election here. Now, okay, right. So again, the lack of correlation with what is the NQ down 600 today, and Bitcoin's holding here. So the correlation with risk assets is finally seems to be breaking. Now it's a little early, right? And there's some things that are influencing in the indexes with major option expiration today. So it's one day is not enough to determine a massive trend change, but it's certainly not insignificant. What are we at? We're about 65% of the post-election bump in the NQ has now all been given back. So approach with caution, right? It's not just going to be easy money for the next however many years, right? So, all right, so moving on. Right, so here we sit. Now this is I'm over on BloFin, right? I got to mention it enough times, right? So I'm gonna do the TA on BloFin. That's our sponsor, and we are very happy with them. So we encourage you. Blah blah blah. Right? Links are underneath. If you're looking for an exchange, that's a good one. That's why we recommend them. And all of our people have been doing a lot of trading there, so we like it. It's a good one. No KYC, no market makers trading against you. Plenty of coins, futures, spot, lots of good stuff in there, and rates is competitive. They can't. Nobody's going to be much more, much less, right? They're all very competitive. They have to be. Okay, so here, I think this is the most conservative count. Now, we've looked at a couple of different ways to get resolved here. Here you see I've put a line here, the lowest closes, right? We get a true double there. I don't think it really matters, right? So if we've considered this, we had A, B, C. Oh, hang on, one wrong A. We had W, X, Y, A, B, C, D, E. We'd get to a triangle right here, and we'd start the launch. Now, we looked at this a couple of times, right? This certainly made 1, 2. Now, 1, 2. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? How you're doing it, right? If you don't like the triangle here, because it's in a pretty shallow E, but it's here. So if I just it doesn't matter again. A, B, C, D, E, right? So if I can pull that out of there, right? Not crazy, right? This doesn't have to come down here. Again, E wave historically, right? Very there's a tendency to overthrow, underthrow. So that wouldn't take it out of the realm of possibility for Elliottians here that like to really dive into solving the puzzle. It really doesn't matter, right? So I think again there are more aggressive ways to count this, where we'd have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a high class problem if we need to add another 1, 2 in here. Right now, I think the more conservative, and no reason to be crazy bullish just yet. Okay, well, I mean, we're off to a good start. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's okay, right? Again, if we need to add another 1, 2, again, a very very high class problem. So as we sit here, right, as people look at this, looking, oh God, right? Well, there's never going to be a retrace. Well, you've got a little consolidation, but that's a good sign, right? So you can imagine, right? So if I have volume profile here, we have some volume as the market is finding acceptance here. It's a good sign, right? That we're not just free falling, because certainly as we see plenty of imbalances below for the market, should it start to sell off, to be looking to rebalance this all the way down here. So again, it's standard ops, right? Same way every time, never changes. All right, so if we're looking in here, the 38, anywhere in here would be ideal. Now we've had a little tag here. We didn't get into the fair value gap much, but we've got, potentially, this is essentially the 23 to 38, so right here in this pocket. Now if we go down to a 4, it could be, right? Some will look at this and say, oh, it looks like we're done. One thing to consider here is that let's go to a 1. This is clearly a 3. So one thought is that we might have a WXY here, A, B, C. So it would be WXY. ABC. Possibly, right? We do the 4 that way. We get a little more granular with it. ABC, ABC, ABC. Not much of a C in there, right? But we got, you can, and then consolidation here. Even if I go to a 15, can we really get one in there? Yeah, I guess you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's pretty skinny on the 5th, but a real contender as we look at this, because there's no way around that being. I wouldn't even consider wanting to truncate that, right? It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like that's a real contender as we go down to the smaller time frames here. I like to stay at 60 and above. So okay, 4 in. Well, it's not a great start there. So I don't think you need to be in a hurry here to jump into Bitcoin. That would be a little bit of FOMO getting the better for you. Now, again, that's my view, right? If you feel differently, I'm never here to tell you not to do anything. We teach a methodology, right? That's why we don't put trades in your hand. Right? Now, if I see something, great. But what we're teaching is a methodology, so you don't need anyone's counsel, right? That's the whole idea. That's why we don't spoon feed you trades, much as people ask for that. We think that does you a disservice, not an actual service, but. Many people disagree, and there's plenty of places where they'll spoon feed you a trade. Okay, so we're looking here now. Could this be the start of the 5th? Well, I got to admit, I would certainly like it better if we were down a little bit lower. Right, so we're not buying up here. Again. Now you might look at this and say, well, there's the pivot. So are we buying in the discount? Well, we're right at equilibrium here. Maybe. That's not good enough for me. Now I'm kind of picky about where I enter, but I think there's better potential setup here. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Could be. I mean, if we're going to go here, okay. Well, what's the possibility here? We're going to do this as a. Well, so if you're just crazy bullish, right, and everything looks bullish to you, well. Maybe you can get away with that. Let's get this out of here. That would be the 1 of the next of the 5. It's not ideal, right? But all the fair value gaps have been filled in, right? So we got a lot of imbalance that's being repaired, right, or mitigated here. We can say it that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, then what are we looking for here? We'd be anticipating another 3. Do we get this to give us a 5? Well, if we get that, okay. If we don't, depending, right, do we get a new break of structure here? If we did, right, I'd just be teed up here saying, oh, okay, well, we got a 5. Now, again, I don't have this. So what to do here? Well, ideally, you'd get something to give you a little bit more comfort here. And I wouldn't go heavy here because look where you're buying up at 90K, right? That's a lot to assume. Again, if you're comfortable, go with it. I never would want to steer you away from a trade that might, go to the moon. But based on what we teach, this would not be an ideal location, right, or a particularly attractive location to be going heavy here. Now, it's your choice as to whether you want to do it. But if you get a 5 here followed by a 3, at least it's a little bit better of a setup. And you put your stop down here. Trading with leverage, probably not a great idea right now. As we're in the midst of this big bull run, you don't want to let something where you get over levered and you just get, wicked out of something and you give back your coins. And I'd be careful doing that, right? So to each his own, though. This is not quite right for me. I'd love it a little bit lower. If we get back in, in the high 80s somewhere, just pick your location here, something like this, 80-ish. Would be, I'd feel much more comfortable adding to my spot holdings, right? I'm not going to do any leverage trading here. I don't want to risk my coins being taken. Oh, let's see, I'm on a 15-minute there. 1, 2. Some of this I think came from a live stream. Some of this was work from a member. Can't remember, right? But I like the count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Work. Some sort of a 4 is going in now, unless it's already in. So I'm assuming that you understand why it would be more comfortable to buy it down here. Now, everybody's position is a little different, right? I'm very long, right? So it's easier for me to be picky, right? If you're not in or not as long as you want, well, choose wisely. likely to be retracements to participate in, but that's up to the individual. Now on the weekly, right, this is why, you know, it's hard to be bearish, right? But again, now we're just as technicians, we're trying to find an ideal place for an entry or a better location. Now you could look at this here out of the weekly and say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going, right? It's just a matter of time before we're up in the 150, 160 range. Well, just for fun, right? If we did that, let's say we got to the most bullish. Now let's take it out of log scale, right? If we got to the most bullish here and we're going to do a 50% retracement, we take it at a log scale, you're in the low 80s. So again, you don't need to panic buy. Right? Some will tell you, right? We're never going to do this again, right? It's just going to go to straight to 500,000. You know, you got to choose wisely here, right? It's what we're teaching is a methodology to approach this. But when we get like this, you know, we waited all of this, right? We waited through all of that to get this. Now, hopefully you've got enough to where you're participating, but don't be reckless up here, right? You don't want to overdo it here, and you don't want to go. I would avoid leverage at all costs. That's me, right? Just a little word to the wise. Okay, right. So with that done, I think we've got enough there on Bitcoin. There's a little bit of hurry up and wait to see, is this one going to complete, or we're going to roll and get an opportunity to come in a little bit lower. Okay, let me get over to ETH, because this is finally showing some signs of life after a long, pretty ugly period. I'm on an 8-hour here. I went over to Coinbase, so I had more history here than BloFin, but I would trade it on BloFin. So it looks like I've got a pretty good start on a big diag. Now, we had looked at a number of different ways to approach this, but right now, given this price action, 1, 2, ABC into the big 3, WXY, and now this looks like I got a 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's dig in there a little bit. Okay, 1, 2, that seems to fly. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. I think you could do it multiple ways. ABC, simpler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leading diag into a 1. ABC into a 2. Lunar shot. For a straight ripping 3. Now, would you want to be buying out here? Again, I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying, right, if you're applying some Elliott Wave here, you're looking for 5s and 3s. Well, there's a start on a 3 there. I mean, you could call that a 3. Length of time is a little askew, or it's often, you know, I think this is a good way to do it. Just compare the two in length of time, right? This might be enough. What we got here? What is that? A quarter of the time? The market's not obligated to balance it out in time. It's just that's what it tends to do. So let's go to a 60 here and see how this looks. Can we make some reasonable deduction here? Let me get the liquidity off there for a sec. Looks like 3, 3. Well, okay, so we're not quite high enough to where you really, right, could lean hard into a flat, right? And it looks like, you know, I mean, that's, you know, I'm not such a purist, right, to where I get caught up in the, oh, it only went 88%, it didn't make 90. It went 80, it didn't make 90, right? So I'm not that much a purist, but 3, 3, it's too little soon to make a hard call there. WX. Y, something like this down lower. Let's go, oh, here, let's just change the color so we don't get lost. All right, so something like that. Seems, well, if this is the A, B, well, this would have to be A, B. Yeah. All right, if it's going to hold as a WX. So let's see. Well, I take that back, right? This could be all just part of the A. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't turn this into a 5, right? It's just not. 3. Well, let's keep it simple. Let's go with just an ABC for the time being, right? And now if this gets more complex, we'll deal with that. Oops. Yeah, what did we do here? Right, so owl is certainly here, right? Just wicks going through. First target already tapped, right? So it's no surprise. Probably you got a series here. Oh, hang on. In the pocket, got it. Follow along, right? So don't ignore that. God, there is no way to get that into a 5. Oh, geez, if I go to a 15, is there any way to make that fly? 1, 2, Oh, that's the 3. Liquidity grab, right? So low-hanging fruit right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Shit, I'm here. I'm doing this on the fly like I'm on a live stream here. So let's go WXY down here, and let's change this to A, B, and working on a C. Well, you might have it. That's all I got. This is not a great looking 2 because it doesn't look like a 3, but okay, maybe we're doing some sort of a wacky diag here. It doesn't look great, but that's what's there, right? Again, Elliott's not perfect. Don't expect it to be perfect. Sometimes it's perfect, but that shouldn't be your expectation. All right, so something like this for the ABC into this. Can't say I love that. Well, okay, what's happening, right? Lower low, lower high. Equal lows, lower high. Lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Where we're trending down here, and it's a 15 minute. Let's go back to a 60. All right, so, okay, well, where are we headed? Well, all of this in need of mitigation, right? So none of this has been tapped once we broke the other side of it. Are we going that low? Well, let's hope not, right? So I might look here for some sort of a little bit of bullish order flow that's untapped here. Maybe we can get something like this. We get into that Y. So I'd look down here as well as a possible entry. But because of all of this, and because I just I wouldn't go heavy here. I just wouldn't go heavy, right? Take a nibble. Let's see, do we get something, good looking here? Do we come out with a 5? Okay, if we do, right, likely to be a 3, right? So I might just do 25%, 20% of what I would normally buy on size, and I wouldn't lever it. Your choice as to whether or not you want to put stops down here, but that's what you're after, right? So I'd like to see some of this. I'd like to see signs of a pivot down here. Right now, it's just we're going down. Okay, right. So I'd be looking down here. I think a little premature for the buy here, but the 50 would be ideal. You've got multiple little locations here that might give it some support, but you don't need to try and pick the turn, right? You don't need to be the hero, right? I mean, if anything, right, wait for this and then take the retrace. Now you've got evidence of it. Right now, you're trying to pick the turn. No need to do it. But up to the individual, I don't want to encourage people not to buy crypto when we're in one of what could be one of the great bull runs we've had in quite some time. Okay, so there's Bitcoin, there's ETH. Let me just go over to a couple of majors here. Long wait here. Now I'm over on Coinbase again for more history. Here's Cardano. All right, people had long given up on just comments like what a dog shit piece of crypto this is. Well, not so fast, right? Okay, so can we get out of here? Right, here's all the hallmarks of a good low. Sweep, liquidity grab. We can't get a new low. Oh, there's the push, right? So we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like a WXY into the low. And then here, this isn't a low. Sometimes there just is no count, right? This is what do we have here? Just consolidation. Sweep the low, sweep the high, sweep the low. This is just manipulation right in here, but it's based on what's come out of it. It's accumulation. So in that process of accumulation, then we push out here. Okay, do we need to count this? Sometimes it's just, I wouldn't get overly caught up in this, right? Is this what we're doing here? Right, when they go vertical like this, again, I don't want to ever, right? I've talked about this for 6 years. I don't want to ever do this. All right, I don't want to do that. Right, if they're going to go lunar like this, I want the whole thing to complete inside of this case would be a very narrow channel. Okay, complete the 5 because right, we got an obvious target here for liquidity, right? So you can see the incentive, right, to get up here and grab some stops, grab some liquidity. Well, what does that do? Right, that's a little bit of fuel. Now here we come down again. That's the safer play. I'd be careful about chasing up here, right? As there's not that much further till the obvious target. Now, of course, I'm never one to say that we aren't going to just launch up here, right? For all we know, we're at $5, you know, by Monday. But that's again, I always want to be a little bit more conservative because I know that no matter what happens, right, retracements are inevitable, right? They are, right? They are. Now they may be, you know, it may be a long wait for one. But my view here is, again, I've been doing this for a long time. I've made all these mistakes chasing up here. Look, are you buying premium discount? Well, you sure are buying full retail there. Why not wait? What's the first thing that comes to your mind, right? Well, what if it goes? Well, welcome to FOMO. All right, FOMO rarely ends well. So much of what's happening right now, I don't think it's going to end well, but for right now, it's make as much money as you can. Okay, so that's Cardano. This is something I bought today. Dog WIF hat. Hard to argue with that 5, right? We get a little bumpy here where we had consolidated. Right? How do we spot the 4? We don't progress the trend. Then we get the final kick. Well, it looks like I got a pretty good ABC here. Oh, maybe some of this is overdone. Right, as we look here, A, B, C, 1, 2. We got a wick through the golden zone, but I bought some down here. Well, I didn't get the absolute turn, but in that ballpark. I think I had limit orders right here, as I recall. Right, so 1, 2, we just wicks go through. Right, so the close is right at the 618, and we get a push here. So the potential here is that 1, 2. Right, so waiting for the retrace. Right, so okay, I'm up a little bit here, but it's just I'm more comfortable because this. Okay, where am I wrong? It's very clear, right? Am I buying in the premium or the discount? Again, don't buy it because I bought it. Bought it because you see the same thing. We'll see. What I know we're very excited about crypto, but where is it? This is a site. I know somebody turned me onto this recently. Excuse me. Hang on. How do I even say this? ArtemisAnalytics.com. App.ArtemisAnalytics. Artemis terminal. All right, I probably Google that. You come up with it. Pretty good right now. If you wanted to get their service, it ain't cheap, right? So this is. I guess you would call this institutional grade, right? I don't know, $300 a month, right? It's not for the average person. But here, just in the free version, right? There's plenty of information here. Well, no, right? Since the election here, where's the bulk of the gains come? Meme coins. Here's Bitcoin. Or store of value coins, Gen 1 smart contracts. But look at meme coins. And see, I find that discouraging, right? Because this is bullshit. This is just a trading vehicle. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. What's the purpose of a meme coin? Does it have a use case? Or is it just for pump and dump fun? I don't know. Maybe Doge, right? Maybe we're going to have Doge in the government with Elon in there. I don't know, but that's discouraging to me, right? I'm not saying if you make $1 million in a meme coin, good for you, but that's not where we want to see the biggest pop, right? We want to see more infrastructure build, right? This is just play. This is just for play, right? This is gamers. This is bullshit. But is the money just as real if you make it? Yes, it is. So I don't want to discourage you from meme coins. It just think about what you're buying. Oh, where was I? Cardano, WIF here. We got this, right? So I guess if you're going to play some of these coins, right, at least be smart about it and don't expect it to go vertical and not retrace. I mean, here, right? What vertical? All of it comes back, right, to the imbalance. So don't feel like, oh my God, I missed it. I missed Pepe. I missed Shibu. I missed name your meme coin. There's so many. How do you pick one? right? Not to be shitting on it, right? But let's let me hang on a second. Another, if you think if you want to get into it, right, and you want to stay away from overdosing on meme coins, well, probably the best count on the board right now, one of the best certainly, is apparently I've been saying this wrong. So every time I saw SU, I thought it was sushi swap, but no, it's SUI, SUI. Fuck, SUI? Is that how we say that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My God, can it get any prettier? I know Elliott Wave doesn't work anymore in the ICT world, but again, you can't trade Elliott Wave without trading market structure, break of structure, retrace, break of structure. Right now, we're going to get another retrace. Well, you can see where I've got these teed up here. I've got an alert here just at the 38, right? Because I want to get some more of this. Well, I wouldn't chase up here, right? Even though that's certainly market's not obligated to retrace. Oh, let's get that up on the new high. Not obligated. This is right a good example of it was down here before. Now just to keep moving up. But sure looks like a good 4 into the 5. You got to be patient, right? It's annoying, right? So much of trading is having the discipline to wait for the right setups. Many people can't do that, but then again, most people lose money in the market. So just a word to the wise. It's the one here that I thought was buyable. And I bought some of this today. 1, 2, 3, 4, golden zone. Looks like we're coming, or again, golden, ABC. Skinny. You can probably put it right here. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B. Looking for the C to complete the 5, right? Now, relatively low risk. It's only 3.82 to 1. But I'll take that, right? Am I buying in the discount? Yep. Got a count that makes sense? Yep. Is it a meme coin? No. Is there a use case? Yes. Hello? Okay, hang on. Okay, I guess I'll finish up here with I'll look at the S&P and the NASDAQ here. Now, I'm going to use the futures, right, because we avoid the gaps. It's just easier to read technically. So, plus, I prefer to trade the futures. So, here we go. Okay, so now last week, I can't remember, it was last week or the week before, we had looked at the very long-term channel that the S&P was in. Well, here I'm off to a daily here. You can see similar kind of a scenario here. Now, I know everybody's, we're going to the moon. Everything's going risk on, risk on, risk on. I heard a quote today. I mean, just let's not forget a little history lesson. I read a quote today that Jamie Dimon was saying that bankers are dancing in the streets after the Trump election due to the lack of regulation or the deregulation in the banking industry. Does everybody remember what caused the creation of Bitcoin? Have we all forgotten why Bitcoin exists? What the impetus was for creating Bitcoin? Now, people don't like to hear this, right? And I'm sure I'll get plenty of nasty comments. But Bitcoin was created because of a lack of banking regulation that led to the great financial crisis. So now we're dancing in the streets because bankers have less regulation again. Well, I don't know how that's going to fare for traditional assets. Again, my opinion, I don't think this ends well. But right now, I don't think we're done either. Right? So this is a pretty substantial sell-off here. I know, right? Oh, everything's going to go straight up forever after Trump's win. But here's straight up. Well, we're over 50% of it given back. The NQ is over 65% of it given back, right? I know, right? They got to clear out the late longs or the longs that came in here. They're getting absolutely obliterated today. Many. We aren't invalidated here. This looks like what does it look like here? If you're looking at this, wouldn't you think? Oh, now top of the top. Well, it's not unreasonable to be anticipating that or to look for this to complete. I mean, it's right in your face. Oh, A, B, C. 5 of the 5 of the 5. Of course, we can all, it's easy to say, oh, well, it'll be different this time. Oh, well, they're going to unleash whatever. Going to be different this time. Even though that completes a 5. Now, how could it be different, right? If we want to say just not and be completely objective and not get anything beyond just the objectivity of the technical analysis, how could this keep going? Well, Let me rephrase that. Technically, if we look here, is there a path for this to keep going? Well, yeah, sure. Right? If we do this, this could be a one wave. 5 gets pushed off. This is a 1. We're going to retrace. Well, where do they usually go? That's all I'm suggesting. Where do they usually go? Let's assume we get the full pop up here. Well, that would set us up for, if this is going to be the one wave, or, and again, market's not obligated ever to do anything, but something like that into this range here. If we're going to go 1, 2, AI going to change the world. Right, beyond how it's already changed us, right? And okay, yeah, we've got a contender for the 5th here. Correct it. Nothing says we can't go higher. You know, I don't just know that if we get up here, I would assume that, you know, we're going all the way down here, right? I mean, the other thought is, oh, well, let's consider that, right? What if this was the 5? I mean, we can't not consider that just because, oh, it's risk on, or it has been. We were here in the summer, right? So if we were going to come back all the way, we're going to do just a traditional A, B, C. The world collapsing, you know, would that shock the markets? Yeah, but it's not like we haven't been here very recently. Bullish order flow heading down, up we go. We haven't touched it, sitting here waiting to be tapped. Maybe we get to the mid of it. Maybe we get to the golden zone, right? Or right here, we're just 4,600. It's not the end of the world, but I just would be careful about assuming up with no correction, right? That's not what the market usually does. Okay, let's go over the NQ and I'll wrap it there because this is even uglier. 1, 2, is that 3? A, B, C. 1, 2, A, B, right? Broke the golden zone. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Means we lost the algo out here on the daily. Now, how can we get the algo back? Well, we're going to have to pop and then we'll get him here, right? But right now, that's an ugly day. Now, it's easy to look and say, oh, well, it's options expiration, right? That's all it is. It's option expiration. Maybe. You're going to put a 2 down here. This is where we invalidate, right? Now, something else has happened here. If we break this low, right? I mean, pretty clearly, right? We've got a triple bottom there. If we keep coming down, oh, that's going to be much more likely what we're looking at. Now, how's that going to fly? Well, same thing, right? If it did that, right, is that the world end here? Or back to the 200, 19.5. It sure looks a lot like we've got a wedge going in here. I just do it this way. Right back here, now we got a breaker right here, right? So, oh, pardon me, an inverse fair value gap. That's 707, right? Well, it'll be interesting to see, right? Is all this options, all the GEX, right? For those of you that are option heads, right? It rolls off the market here. There's room to recover, but right now it's just a fucking hugely ugly day. Here's the election. That's the day after the election. Here's almost all back. See you later. Okay, I think I got that. All right, so I'm not trying to be bearish or pessimistic about the outcome. Well, we're going to see. All right, but this most encouraging is that Bitcoin is holding, right? That for us crypto heads, that's, even if I bring it up over here, right, is the possibility we've got the 4s in here. The fact that we're holding here with the NQ down 600, very good sign for crypto bulls, right? Or for Bitcoin bulls, at least. Okay, guys, with that, I'll sign off here. Just a reminder, right? Check those links before. We got lots of tools to help you. And of course, we want to encourage you to give a visit over to BloFin. Take advantage of some of the incentives they're offering. I'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll get the live stream software sorted out here. But I'll see you guys next Wednesday. With that, have a good weekend.